I immediately felt annoyed as I noticed my sister, Jenna, calling me. Their car should have been at the cabin more than 20 minutes prior, yet I'd somehow managed to arrive there before them. "Hey, sis, where you at?" I asked, half surprised, and a bit worried that they'd taken a wrong turn somewhere. Which wouldn't have been too out of character for Jenna, with her absolutely non-existent sense of direction. What I got in response was a static mess of sound that blared from my phone at full volume, before it quickly cut off and the call disconnected. Out in the middle of nowhere, it wasn't an uncommon occurrence, and I figured if I drove back down the road, I'd get a few bars of signal. Our lonesome cabin was situated only a 3-hour drive from the closest town, in the most desolate part of the country. Only accessible by a road that had gone without maintenance for what seemed like a century. To most, it might feel like a post-apocalyptic wasteland, but for us, it was the perfect escape from the noises surrounding New Year's Eve. The plan had been to drive together, but with work keeping me back, and them driving ahead, we'd split up. Even then, it wasn't the first time we'd driven there, so she should have known the way. I called Jenna again once I got a few bars on my phone, and once she answered it became clear how distressed she was. In the background I could hear her 2 kids crying, and Jenna doing her best to keep calm. "Jenna, what's going on?" I asked, my annoyance quickly turning to worry. We hit something on the road," she said. "What, you mean like a deer or something?" I asked. I don't know, I hit my head pretty bad when we crashed, didn't get a good look at it. It fell into a ditch somewhere." Her voice shook with each spoken word, and whether it be from the impact, or a rush of adrenaline, she sounded like she was on the verge of tears. "Shit, are you alright?" "Yeah, I'm just a bit shook up, but..." She trailed off. He stopped speaking, and I could hear her walking away. Trying not to alert her kids to the situation. I can't get the car started again, could you please come pick us up? It's dark, and the kids are getting scared." "Of course, where are you?" "At the T-junction on Glover Road," but she stopped mid-sentence, as if something had cut her off. "Sis, you alright?" "Yeah, please just come." I'd already started the car back up before she asked. It wouldn't be more than a 20-minute drive back to Glover Road, and though it was dark without reflective signs, and frozen ground, I could get there before she started completely panicking. "Alright, I'm on my way. I'll call you when I get close," I said. She thanked me, and I hung up. The landscape around me was dimly lit up by my headlights, revealing frozen grass and leafless trees. During the day, it looked like any other winter wonderland, but in the dark it could bring out the shivers in even the most seasoned adventurer. Oh, as I'd gotten about halfway there, my sister's name lit up on the phone. I slowed down to a halt and picked it up, not willing to drive and talk under these circumstances. "Hey, what's up? Are you far away?" she asked nervously. "I'm about halfway, won't be long." "Why are you calling?" She paused for a second before responding, breathing erratically as she mulled over what to say. "It's just that." She trailed off. "What?" "The thing I hit, it's moving." "The thing, do you mean the deer?" "No, it's not it's something else." "I don't know." "What?" "I don't know, please just hurry." Confused as to why she called me a second time, and annoyed that I would have almost been there if not for the disturbance, I hung up and kept driving. After a few minutes, I pulled onto Glover Road, and continued towards the junction. I put on the high beam to make sure I didn't accidentally crash into my stranded sister, or whatever she had collided with herself. As I arrived at the junction, I saw no sign of a crash, and realized that despite my sister's instruction, she might be on the wrong road entirely. Keeping me company was nothing but the cold, and an old wooden sign that read Glover Road, with Jensen Street going up from the junction. I sighed, and called my sister for a third time. "Jack," she said, sounding absolutely terrified. "Yeah, I'm here already, but you're not," I said. "You sure you broke down on Glover Road?" She didn't respond, but I could hear her trembling breath and crying kids on the other end of the line. "Sis, you okay?" "It got back up," she whispered in shock. "What did?" "The thing we hit, it got back up and ran off into the woods." "What was it?" "I don't know, I couldn't get my flashlight in time, it was too fast, but it was tall, and it ran on two legs. It didn't look like any animal I've ever seen," she said. While the forests in the area were known to house many strange creatures, and bizarrely large elk, nothing fit the description my sister had just given me. Though what irked me more than the strange animal she'd hit, were her whereabouts. "Hey, Jen, let's just do a video call, then you can show me your surroundings, and I'll come pick you up," I said nonchalantly, trying to keep her calm. "Okay, but it's pretty dark, and my camera sucks," she responded. We turned over to a video call, and she brought up the flashlight to give me an inkling as to where she was. "Look, here's the sign," she said as she pointed her camera towards an old wooden sign. "Glover Road, Jensen Street," the sign read, just like the one I stood next to. "Wait, that doesn't make any sense," I said and showed her the same sign on my end, proving that we were in the same location, yet couldn't see each other. "But where are you?" she asked. "I'm literally in the same spot as you, I don't understand," I said, a hint of fear showing through my voice. "Look, I'll just call the police, I don't know why. The other option we have, just stay by the car and I'll call you right," I said before I was interrupted. "No wait," she practically yelled on the other end. She pointed her camera towards the tree line, her flashlight barely reaching across the road, creating nothing more than a pathetic outline of the trees, and something moving between them. "Do you see that?" she asked. "Is that the thing you hit?" I asked. Before she got a chance to answer, the figure shot out from the trees, becoming clear in the light. There it stood, 10 feet tall, a bizarre mixture of animals merged together with bones protruding through its pale skin. Its face was nothing more than a mangled lump of flesh poorly fitted to its body, and in the center lay a massive hole, resembling a disgusting mix between a mouth and a singular eye. "Oh God, what is that thing?" she yelled. It let out a broken roar, before it charged at my sister, crossing the distance between them in just under a second. She pulled CK towards her children, grabbing onto Laura, her 2-year-old who'd inexplicably gotten loose from her seat, and shoved her into the car. As she turned to help Alex, the creature lunged past her, grabbing onto the 10-year-old, and snatching him away within a second. "No, let him go, Alex!" my sister yelled, but the thing had long since retreated back into the woods. I quickly glanced over at the tree line, from where the creature came, but on my side it was empty, a world occupied by nothing more than darkness. Whatever separated my sister and I, it wasn't distance. "Help!" she called out. "Alex? I am going to call the police, hold on." I hung up and dialed the number. No response? I checked my phone to make sure I still had 2 bars of signal, yet no connection could be made. I tried a second, and a third time, to no avail, help would not come. After the hopeless attempt, I called Jenna back. "Jack." She stuttered as she picked up. "I'm sorry, I couldn't get a hold of them, are you all right?" "We're inside the car, But there's more of them now, they're circling around us. They took Alex, she got out between sobs. Just stay in the car, Jenna, I'm going to drive down the road and look for help. I put my phone down on the dashboard and kept the call going. Talking to Jenna as I sped down the road, promising, lying that everything would be all right. Jack, they're leaving, she exclaimed with the faintest hint of relief in her voice. I let out a breath, slowing down my car a bit as I let myself believe the worst had passed, trying to avoid another unfortunate collision. That's great, Jenna, but stay in the car until I get back, I ordered. But, Alex, he's still out there. Look, I know it's hard, but Alex, he's... Before I could finish the sentence, something could be heard in the background. It was her son, crying and calling for help, but something about his voice was off, the emotion in his calls were practically non-existent, his cries unnatural, as if they were nothing but a poor imitation of a human being. Alex! Jenna cried, opening the door without hesitation to go out and save her child. Jenna, no! I yelled, but it was too late. She'd already stepped out through the door, and no sooner did her foot hit the ground, before one of the creatures bounced onto her, snapping her arm in half. She dropped the phone, and in the struggle I could hear the car door closing with Laura still inside, while Jenna was torn to pieces by the horrific creatures. I kept driving against my strongest desire to turn around and help, but I knew that I could know nothing to reach her, no matter how hard I tried. Jenna? I yelled, but the call had long since disconnected, leaving me alone in absolute silence. As I sped down the road, I kept trying to call the police, but no matter how strong my signal was, I couldn't reach anyone. Even while going far over the speed limit, it took an hour and a half to reach the nearest little village. Once I drove into a more populated area, I managed to flag down a police car that happened to pass by. While what I told them was mostly an incomprehensible mess of words, they managed to get the gist, that someone was hurt, including a child. I headed back towards Glover Road on board their police cruiser, while I unsuccessfully tried to reconnect with Jenna. Another 2 hours passed driving down the icy roads, and once we got there I was more than surprised to be met by their wreck of a car. Jenna and Alex were nowhere to be seen, but in one final act of defiance, my sister had managed to lock the doors from outside, preventing her youngest, Laura, from getting out. The little girl sat crying inside the car, her entire world shattered in the span of just an hour, as her entire family had gone missing. The police did a thorough search, but couldn't find the remains of neither the monster or Jenna. As far as the evidence showed, they'd never existed on that road. Whatever I told them, it was limited to what I'd heard on the phone call, and Laura, being 2, had little she could say, as much as she wanted her mother back. Had my sister not decided to leave early, and work not kept me late, we might have driven the same car, and all of us could have either been fine, or died a horrific death together. I wish there was more to the story, that I could have given you all a happy ending, but instead I'll just leave you with these simple instructions.